You know, you have become very vocal. You are known for that, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe just elaborate more about the partnership.
I've always been an advocate for men and good men, and I believe that there's a lot of good men in this country. If there was a lot of bad guys, then they'd all be in prison, you know. So this partnership, I think it's a great partnership for us to continue the dialogues and for us to continue to change the narrative and to change the mindset of men.
I'm going to sit on this thing. The president has declared a pandemic around gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And instead we see this thing higher and higher. There is no resolve. Yeah. And you are there as an ambassador who said, I've been here, I've stood the test of time, but where to from here? What do we do?
Don't want to comment on what the president declares, because some of the things that got to be declared, they've been long overdue. Let's be honest. So a truthful answer is gender-based violence is not just against women, but it's also against men. And we need to find a way in how we can bring people around the table to have these conversations, and for men to teach women how they want to be treated, and how women can teach men how they want to be treated, so that we can come to an amicable place where we can raise healthy families, strong black families, because right now what we are raising is we are raising broken families, and that's affecting our society.
Okay, go.
Lastly, how do you bring in the boy child into the conversation?
Oh yeah, bringing the boy child, I already have a film that we've just shot, and it's called Ingoma the Song. We're going to be releasing it, I think, around May this year. And that really speaks to a boy child and what it really takes to be a good man. And not just stuff that you hear from Instagram or some motivational speaker, but like raising a good man from what Itai Malase next door will say, you know. We have all those stories where we like, that drunk uncle said something that was so profound and it made me to become a great man today. So those are the kind of stories that I'm building and contributing towards. If you remember with Losing Lerato, those are some of the things that I had tackled when it comes to Tando, which is out where we tackling bullying and teenage suicide. So every film that will come from us will always be, you know, something that educates.
The mental debate, I mean, men are subjected to that, and because of we still believe that tigers don't cry, we don't go for checkups and all that. At the end of the day, we wake at the heaviest stage, and it's a point of no return. How would you talk to men in as far as mental health is concerned?
So I don't believe in this whole thing of point of no return. I believe that through conversations, through honest conversations, we come out and we find ourselves having to say the right things because we are on a public platform and you don't want to be written off. But through my experience in traveling the country and talking about men issues is that you can't fix islonda ungasibhobozanga. So you have to get to the root cause of it and then be able to change the mindset of that man and understand why that man has that kind of a mindset and correct it. So what we tend to do is we always look at the final product and we want to bash men, and then we want to put hashtags like men are trash without having to solve the problem. And those hashtags are not solving the problem. In fact, they are creating the problem even further.
Speaking of mindset, there's a saying that goes, the good man always finishes last.
Yeah.
There are women that think that you're too soft for me. What would you advise a man that is so good, but they're even thinking of going the other way? Because women love bad guys.
And it goes back to those kind of conversations. There's certain things that people don't understand. Men are under pressure, especially even on social media. Men are just under pressure to become bigger, to perform, to do all of that. I remember when I did my campaign in circumcision, I didn't do it for the idea of sexual pleasure, umnandi, but I did it with saying, us as men, we can go and circumcise in order to prevent cervical cancer in women, to protect. So once we stop the narrative of this crazy social media of us selling things the wrong way, then we are able to to bring conversations and bring people that we want to change their mindsets into conversations. Right now, when you say we're going to go and do a conversation about gender-based violence, and you're calling all the men, the first thing they do is they switch off because they're expecting for us to bash them. They're expecting for us to say, you are trash. So why would I go and sit around a table where I'm going to be told I'm trash? But then if we find ways to sit and have conversations with them in a proper way and understand their psyche and how do we bring them together, then we are able to raise those conversations in hanging out.
The release of 500 balloons, what does it really symbolize in your journey?
It symbolizes that we are good men, and there are good men out there. And we are saying that what is happening with gender-based violence, with femicide, is not good. What we are saying is that it needs to stop. What we're saying is that, you know, we need to become the protectors, because naturally that's who we are. We are the providers, we are the protectors. So let's protect, let's do what we need to do.
Thank you. We're good?
For someone, for those guys out there that are still thinking this thing doesn't affect me, I'm not in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
So why should I be involved in this campaign? Because I'm not involved. I'm not actually impacted by this. What do you say to them?
It's a powerful question, because with my experience having to travel around the country, most men who committed gender-based violence did not know that they had that bone in them. Imzumile le nto nayo, and did not understand where it came from. So that's why when we go back and dig deep into psychology in terms of how you were brought up, there's certain things that affect us, not just men and women, that affect us in how we grow up. Having an absent father, having an abusive father, having an alcoholic, for even a mother, you know, who's an alcoholic. How does that affect you as an adult in future? So if we come together, have a conversation in a cool environment, then we can bring up these conversations.
Now, bringing up a child, we always say, "Awuzali mawumuntu." You don't also give birth to yourself. I mean, that's why.
Awuzali yeah.
Then you find there's so much complex pressures that is put on a child. You must be this, that, and that. Because of most kids who got all the love you may think of in the world are the troubled kids today. How would you talk to a young father?
Man, you know, I think sometimes we just need to be careful what we take and we put out there. Awuzali mawumuntu. Yet you want to uthi ithakazelo zakho sibizwe kuloyo muntu loyo. So that's nonsense. Uyazala mawumuntu, and behavior is learned. That's what we know. So ka Setswana ba re ipinyana ha e re ping isa utlwa e kgolo e re ping. You know what I mean? So if we give a good example to our children, if I raise both my girls, this is how I treated their mother, they look for that husband who will treat them the same way. So mina ngiyazala ongazali ezakhe namajazana wakhe.